Israel is said to be deploying the tactic of cutting the Gaza Strip in half, isolating the north to create a siege to contain Hamas. U.S. officials predict a new phase of Israel's war with Hamas in the coming days, with Israel scaling back its air campaign and focusing on a more tactical ground campaign. According to U.S. officials, Israel is expected to focus more tactically on the ground campaign to clear Hamas's vast underground tunnel network. The Israeli military and the United Nations said Israeli forces entered Gaza from the Mediterranean coast on November 2, cutting the strip in half and isolating densely populated urban areas in the north, where military units were located. Israeli armor and infantry are fighting Hamas. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, has completed the complete siege of Gaza City, the stronghold of the Hamas organization, Israeli military spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, announced. The United Nations announced a temporary suspension of humanitarian aid to the northern Gaza area, where 300,000 residents are said to have remained despite evacuation orders from the Israeli army. Gaza City and northern Gaza have been largely isolated because of the fighting, the United Nations confirmed. According to the Wall Street Journal, by dividing Gaza and fighting north and south of Gaza City, Israel has created a two-front war for Hamas. However, that also means the Israeli army has to fight in difficult urban terrain in northern Gaza. Hamas militants used anti-tank missiles to target Israeli tanks and armored personnel carriers, as Israeli ground forces advanced on the outskirts of Gaza City. According to the Israeli military, in a fierce firefight, the Israeli army was ambushed by a large group of Hamas troops, who fired anti-tank missiles, threw grenades, and detonated explosions. The soldiers engaged the enemy, with support from artillery and tanks, and directed an air attack from helicopters and a missile attack from naval vessels. Dozens of members, Hamas, was destroyed in the battles, the Israeli army announced on November 2. Everywhere they went, Israeli soldiers described what they saw: attackers coming out of tunnels, underground tunnels under buildings, under hospitals, under schools. They see it all, said Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. It is unclear whether the Israeli military plans to push deeper into Gaza City, a Hamas stronghold that has been hit by airstrikes over the past 3 weeks, or if they will stay on the outskirts, considering Hamas's defense capabilities, and conduct more airstrikes. Jorah Island, a former Israeli general and national security advisor, said Israel succeeded with relative ease in dividing northern Gaza from the south, putting its forces in a position to encircle Hamas. General Island said the Israeli army is focusing on finding the entrance to the underground bunker network used by Hamas and finding ways to defeat Hamas fighters. He said that to maintain a tight siege in Gaza City, Israel also needs to destroy the tunnels running from north to south, which are considered the lifeblood of Hamas. Gaza is probably the most fortified fortification in the world. This is a difficult battle and can last for weeks, Mr. Island commented.